Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. I am Saira Mujtaba and with me is Ashish P. Abraham, bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. Government of India ensuring benefits of digital revolution reach all, asserts Prime Minister Narendra Modi. India-European Union Free Trade Agreement will be a game changer for India-EU relationship, says External Affairs Minister of India Dr. S. Jaishankar. Two-day G20 foreign ministers meeting under India's presidency to begin in New Delhi from Wednesday. Indian Space Research Organisation successfully conducts flight test of cryogenic engine for Chandrayaan-3 mission. White House asks US federal agencies to remove Chinese social media app TikTok from government devices within 30 days. World's longest river cruise, Ganga Vilas, successfully completes its maiden journey in the Indian state of Assam. And in cricket, third test of Border Gavaskar Trophy between India and Australia to begin in Indore from Wednesday. And now the news in detail. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has asserted that the government is investing heavily in technology and creating modern digital infrastructure. He said the government is also ensuring that the benefits of the digital revolution reach every section of the society. Prime Minister Modi said this while addressing a post-budget webinar on the theme Unleashing the Potential, Ease of Living Using Technology on Tuesday. Mr. Modi said every budget in the last few years has stressed on the ease of living for people with the help of technology. The Prime Minister added that the India of the 21st century is changing and empowering its citizens continuously with the power of technology, and people are clearly feeling this change.
नेशनल साइंस डे पर हो रहे आज के बजट वेबिनार का विषय बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है। 21वीं सदी का बदलता हुआ भारत अपने नागरिकों को टेक्नोलॉजी की ताकत से लगातार नागरिकों को एम्पावर कर रहा है। बीते वर्षों में हमारी सरकार के हर बजट में टेक्नोलॉजी की मदद से देशवासियों की ईज ऑफ लिविंग बढ़ाने पर जोर दिया गया है। इस बार के बजट में भी टेक्नोलॉजी लेकिन साथ साथ ह्यूमन टच को प्राथमिकता, ये हमारा प्रयास रहा है।
India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on Tuesday reviewed the implementation of central government welfare schemes, public infrastructure and services in border villages of Sikkim at Lachen in Mangan district. The review is aimed at ensuring that the targets proposed under the Vibrant Villages program are fulfilled. Earlier in the day, Ms. Sitharaman attended an outreach program organized by the National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development and other banks in Gangtok. Speaking on the occasion, the minister said the Vibrant Villages program aims to ensure the development of all common facilities such as telecom, optic fiber cables, infrastructure, schools, houses, roads, health, internet and common service centers in border villages.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar has said that India-European Union Free Trade Agreement FTA will be a game changer for the India-EU relationship. He said India is looking forward to mutually beneficial and advantageous conclusion of negotiation process within a short timeline. Speaking at the India-EU Business and Sustainability Conclave in New Delhi on Tuesday, Dr. Jaishankar termed the European Union an important trade partner, saying that India and EU believes in multipolar global order and share their commitment to promote multilateralism. He said India and EU are considerate to each other's geopolitical, economic, strategic and security concerns. He said EU is one of India's largest and important trade partners and the bilateral trade has crossed $115 billion.
Personally interacted with the foreign ministers of all the 27 EU member states and the High Representative of the European Commission, and these interactions have contributed to the resumption of the India-EU FTA negotiations, the India-EU Trade and Technology Council, which we call the TTC, the announcement of that. Dialogues in areas of security and defense and human rights, and not least, a jump in bilateral trade.
Highlighting the steps taken in the last 9 years to bring the structural reforms in the various sectors in the country, Dr. Jaishankar said, India is one of the leading countries in climate change mitigation. He said, green transition is core in achieving sustainable development goals.
When it comes to the green transition, clean energy and green transition are central to the India-EU connectivity partnership. Synergies have emerged in solar and wind energy, in green hydrogen, smart grids, sustainable urban transports, especially metro projects, waste management, and the circular economy.
Crown Prince Fede and Crown Princess Mary of Denmark called on President Draupadi Murmu in New Delhi on Tuesday. Welcoming them, the President said, India-Denmark relations have grown in both depth and breadth in the last 5 years. She expressed confidence that the two countries would see an upward trajectory in bilateral trade and investment. President Murmu said that climate change is an area on which India and Denmark have a convergence of views and interests. She said, India has set itself on a path of climate-responsive development. The President said that India has launched a new mission called LIFE, Lifestyles for Sustainable Environment, for Sustainable Lifestyle and for Respecting Nature. She expressed confidence that the fight against climate change would unite the world as one family. The Danish royal couple arrived in New Delhi on Sunday. They are on 4-day visit to India.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar met his Danish counterpart Lachloch Rosseman in New Delhi on Tuesday and discussed bilateral partnership. In a tweet, Dr. Jaishankar said they discussed bilateral partnership that is growing from strength to strength. He added that they also exchanged views on the state of the world and it calls for intensifying the cooperation. Environment Minister of India, Bhupendra Yadav, has said that India and Denmark can show the world that delivering an ambitious climate and sustainable energy goals is possible. He was addressing the India-Denmark Partners for Green and Sustainable Progress Conference in New Delhi on Tuesday. He said the Indo-Danish Green Strategic Partnership is an appropriate forum to exchange ideas, knowledge, technology and capacity building to promote sustainable lifestyles. Mr. Yadav said that since the launch of partnership in 2020, the bilateral cooperation is focused on promoting green and sustainable development.
The 2-day G20 Foreign Ministers meeting under India's presidency will begin in New Delhi from Wednesday. Foreign ministers of member nations have started arriving in the national capital to attend the meeting. According to the External Affairs Ministry, Foreign Minister of Brazil Mauro Vieira, Foreign Minister of Mauritius Alan Ganu and International Labour Organization Sherpa Richard Mark Summons arrived in New Delhi on Tuesday. During the 2-day event, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and several dignitaries are scheduled to share their perspectives on the emerging global challenges and international matters. A 2-day inception meeting of W20 Women 20 under India's presidency concluded in Maharashtra on Tuesday. W20 is an official engagement group under the G20. Around 150 women dignitaries from member countries, guest countries and special invitees participated in this meeting. Briefing media, W20 chairperson Dr. Sandhya Purecha said, during the inception meeting, discussions were held on 5 priorities set by India. Dr. Purecha said 5 priority areas include women in entrepreneurship, women leadership at grassroots, bridging the gender-digital divide, education and skill development, and women and girls as change makers, climate resilience action.
Prime Minister of Italy, Giorgia Meloni, will be on a 2-day visit to India from Thursday. She will be accompanied by Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Antonio Tajani and a high-powered business delegation. The Italian Prime Minister will be the chief guest and keynote speaker at the 8th Raisina Dialogue. Sri Lanka's Foreign Affairs Minister MUM Ali Sabri will also be on a 3-day official visit to India from the 2nd of March to attend the 8th edition of the Raisina Dialogue. The dialogue is India's premier conference on geopolitics and geoeconomics, which will be held in New Delhi. The minister is scheduled to participate in 2 special panel discussions on the topics Healing a Divided World and Bites of Promise, How Can Technology Lift Communities? And now in today's Hotspot section, we bring you a news commentary, India-German relations in changing times.
The Chancellor of the Federal Republic of Germany, Mr. Olaf Scholz, visited India on the 25th and 26th of February 2023. It was his first visit after becoming Chancellor in December 2021. The same year, India and Germany celebrated 70 years of establishment of diplomatic relations, which has grown from strength to strength. India and Germany have a strategic partnership which was established in 2001, and this has been strengthened by the high-level intergovernmental consultations, IGC, held every 2 years. Prime Minister Modi attended the last IGC in Berlin in 2022 and subsequently was also invited to the G7 summit hosted by the German Chancellor. The visit by Chancellor Scholz to India came at a time when global challenges have multiplied, ranging from the COVID-19 pandemic and its impact on the global economy together with the war in Ukraine have created many problems. In this context, India has strong relations with the European Union, and Germany is not only the largest trading partner for the country, but as Prime Minister Modi emphasized, it is an important source of investment into India. During the visit, the goals established in the 2022 IGC along with the achievements were reviewed. Prime Minister Modi in his address emphasized the bilateral cooperation for enhancing triangular development cooperation in third countries. Similarly, giving a big push to people-to-people relations was the Migration and Mobility Partnership signed in December 2022. The Prime Minister also underlined that security and defence cooperation can become an important part of the bilateral strategic partnership and that this area has a lot of potential for cooperation. In the bilateral talks between the leaders, the impact of COVID pandemic and the Ukraine conflict were part of the discussions. The Prime Minister emphasized that India has stood firm on stating that dialogue and diplomacy is the only way to resolve the dispute and that it is necessary to reform the UN Security Council. Chancellor Scholz was accompanied by a large business delegation, and industry leaders on both sides met and shared their opinions on efforts to scale up the B2B efforts. In this context, both sides examined the areas of digital transformation, fintech, IT, telecom and diversification of supply chains. Further, there was an announcement by the Asia-Pacific Committee of German Business holding the Asia-Pacific Conference in 2024 in India. Among the key takeaways of the visit was emphasizing the long history of cooperation in science and technology, research and innovation, which was institutionalized under the framework of Intergovernmental Agreement on Cooperation in Scientific Research and Technological Development, 1974. Both sides agreed to a new vision to enhance cooperation in innovation and technology. Both sides recognized the key role of cooperation between academia and industry and welcomed the progress made by the Indo-German Science and Technology Center and acknowledged some of the important projects on advanced materials and particle physics and the role of research institutions on both sides. Keeping these larger aims in mind, a new Indo-German vision was adopted on innovation and technology and identified the following key areas: energy partnership and clean technologies, including green hydrogen, strengthening the framework and ecosystem for Indo-German business relations to thrive, recognizing digital technologies, including fintech, as being critical to achieving the SDGs, the role of artificial intelligence to transform society and economy, the role of 5G and 6G technologies. Financial provisions would be made from both sides and would also include the private sector. Thus, within the framework of the Green and Sustainable Development Partnership, both sides have decided to work together in areas like renewable energy, green hydrogen and biofuels. A letter of intent was signed between the Department of Science and Technology and the Fraunhofer Institute for Solar Energy Systems for cooperation in green hydrogen and clean energy technologies. In this context, an MOU was also signed between the Skill Council of Green Jobs and the Bundesverband Solar Wirtschaft e.V. Chancellor Scholz also met with President Draupadi Murmu. Both leaders emphasized the strong economic connections and the fact that Germany is the second largest development cooperation partner. He also held an interaction with a cross-section of young Indians to get a feel of the issues resonating with the next generation before proceeding to Bengaluru. In Bengaluru, Chancellor Scholz visited the M. Chinnaswamy Cricket Stadium and interacted with the Royal Challengers Bengaluru team. He also visited the company Sun Mobility, which is a leading provider for universal energy infrastructure and services for electric vehicles. It gave an insight into the role of the private sector to assist with clean energy transition. He also visited a software company, SAP Labs, and had interactions and encouraged skilled IT professionals to come to Germany. The German government is seeking to bring a new law aimed at reducing immigration barriers for skilled people. Chancellor Scholz's visit to India came at a time when the current state of global challenges has put the spotlight on partners and international cooperation and the need to build more comprehensive understanding to address these issues.
This is All India Radio giving you the world news.
The Indian Space Research Organisation ISRO has successfully conducted the flight acceptance hot test of the CE-20 cryogenic engine. The engine will power the cryogenic upper stage of the launch vehicle Mark III for the Chandrayaan-3 mission. The space agency said the test was successfully conducted at the ISRO Propulsion Complex, Mahendragiri in Tamil Nadu. ISRO said the hot test was carried out for a planned duration of 25 seconds at the High Altitude Test Facility. It said all the propulsion parameters during the test were found satisfactory and closely matched with predictions. The mission is slated to be launched later this year by Launch Vehicle Mark III from the Satish Dhawan Space Center at Sriharikota. India celebrated National Science Day on Tuesday. The theme of this year's Science Day is Global Science for Global Well-being, in light of India's G20 presidency. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has extended his greetings to all scientists and innovators of the country. We have a report.
National Science Day is celebrated to mark the discovery of the Raman effect by physicist Sir C.V. Raman on this day in 1928. For this discovery, he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1930. In 1954, he was honoured with India's highest civilian award, the Bharat Ratna. In 1986, the National Council for Science and Technology asked the Government of India to designate February 28 as National Science Day. Since 1987, the event is celebrated all over the country in schools, colleges, universities and other academic, scientific, technical, medical and research institutions. The celebration includes public speeches, radio, TV, science, movies, science exhibitions, research demonstrations, debates and many more activities. Payal Sharma, News Desk.
The Indian government has said the pan-India coverage target of 5G services will be achieved by the end of next year. Briefing media in the national capital, Communication and IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav said 387 districts of the country have been covered by 5G services so far. He said under phase 1 of 5G coverage, a deadline was set to cover 200 cities by the end of March this year, and the target has been achieved a month earlier. He said India has emerged as a leading manufacturer and exporter of telecom equipment, and the mobile export is going to be $10 billion in the coming years. In Jammu and Kashmir, 2 terrorists were killed by security forces in an encounter at Padgampura village of Avantipura in Pulwama district in the wee hours today. A joint team of security forces on a specific input launched a cordon and search operation in the village. During the searches, terrorists hiding inside a mosque opened indiscriminate fire upon the search parties. In the exchange of fire, 2 army jawans sustained grievous injuries. One of the jawans later succumbed to his injuries. Incriminating material, arms and ammunition were recovered from the site of the encounter. The investigation so far revealed that both the terrorists were involved in conspiring and attacking minorities, outsiders, other vulnerable targets and security forces.
The United States has said that Pakistan has made meager progress in its pledge to dismantle all terrorist organizations without delay or discrimination. In a report on Country Reports on Terrorism 2021, Pakistan, the U.S. Bureau of Counterterrorism says Pakistan experienced significant terrorist activity in 2021. The report says number of attacks and casualties was higher than in 2020, according to major terrorist groups that focused on conducting attacks in Pakistan. These included Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, the Balochistan Liberation Army and ISIS-K. The White House has given U.S. federal agencies 30 days to purge Chinese-owned video snippet sharing app TikTok from all government-issued devices and systems, setting a deadline to comply with a ban ordered by the U.S. Congress. In a bid to keep U.S. data safe, Office of Management and Budget Director Shalanda Young, in a memorandum called on government agencies to remove and disallow installations of the application on agency-owned or operated IT devices, and to prohibit internet traffic from such devices to the app within 30 days. The ban does not apply to businesses in the United States not associated with the federal government or to the millions of private citizens of the country who use the hugely popular app. Owned by Chinese tech giant ByteDance, TikTok has become a major political target due to concerns the globally popular app can be circumvented for spying or propaganda by the Chinese Communist Party. The law signed by US President Joe Biden last month bans the use of TikTok on government-issued devices. The law also bans TikTok use in the US House of Representatives and Senate. National security concerns in the country over alleged China spying have grown over the past month after a Chinese balloon traversed US airspace and was eventually shot down. The Canadian government on Monday banned TikTok from all of its phones and other devices, citing fears about how much access Beijing has to user data.
India's gross domestic production registered a growth of 4.4% in the October-December third quarter of the current fiscal. India's Ministry of Statistics in a release said, GDP in the third quarter of 2022-23 is estimated at 40.19 lakh crore rupees as against 38.51 lakh crore rupees in the third quarter of 2021-22, showing a growth of 4.4%. For the 2022-23 fiscal, the real GDP is estimated to grow at 7% as compared to 9.1% in 2021-22, while nominal GDP for the year is estimated to grow at 15.9%. The domestic benchmark indices declined today amid mixed global cues. We have a report from the business desk.
The Sensex fell 326 points or 0.6% to end at 58,962. The Nifty shed 89 points or 0.5% to close at 17,304. Among the global stock markets, key Asian markets ended mixed today. Japan's Nikkei gained 0.1%, South Korea's Kospi advanced 0.4%, China's Shanghai Composite rose 0.7% ahead of upcoming economic data to be released tomorrow. Singapore's Straits Times ended flat, but Hong Kong's Hang Seng dropped 0.8%. Global crude oil prices rose today. Brent crude oil futures rose $1.44 to $83.89 per barrel. U.S. crude oil futures gained $1.80 to $77.48 a barrel. Back home at the multi-commodity exchange, gold was trading at around 55,200 rupees per 10 grams. Silver declined 160 rupees to trade around 62,800 rupees per kilogram for March contracts when reports last came in. At the forex market, the rupee appreciated 17 paise against the dollar to end at 82.66. Rajesh Lake for World News, All India Radio.
India's High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Gopal Bagle, held an interaction on importance of millets in Colombo. Sri Lanka's Minister for Agriculture, Mahinda Amaravira, appreciated India's efforts to promote the use and popularization of millets. He said Sri Lanka can benefit from better varieties of millets from India through collaboration with Indian institutions like Indian Council for Agricultural Research. Speaking on the occasion, High Commissioner Gopal Bagle said millets have been a part of Indian cultural DNA. Remembering the Sri Lanka's crisis last year, he said that both India and Sri Lanka acknowledged food security as the first pillar of cooperation. He asserted that today's interaction on millets can help achieve cooperation on food security.
Food is one of the most important areas for cooperation between India and Sri Lanka. In fact, about 1.5 years ago, when we started working with the government of Sri Lanka to respond to the challenges which were emerging in Sri Lanka at that time and which later on took the shape that we are familiar with what happened last year, food security was the first pillar, was identified bilaterally by both the governments as the first pillar of our cooperation. Energy security was the next, currency support was the third, and investment being the fourth.
Representative of Food and Agriculture Organization for Sri Lanka and Maldives, Vimlendra Sharan, welcomed the interaction organized by the Indian Mission. The year 2023 is being celebrated as International Year of Millets globally under a proposal sponsored by India and endorsed by United Nations General Assembly. In a historic first, 8 aircrafts of the Indian Air Force landed at a Royal Saudi Air Force base on 26th of February, heralding a new chapter in the defense relationship between the two countries. The Indian contingent, comprising 145 air warriors with its complement of 5 Mirage, 02 C-17 and 1 1-litre 78 tankers, had an overnight halt in the kingdom.
World's longest river cruise, MV Ganga Vilas, successfully completed its maiden journey at Bogibeel in Dibrugarh in Assam on Tuesday. MV Ganga Vilas, a cruise vessel made in India, was flagged off by Prime Minister Narendra Modi from Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh on the 13th of last month. During the 50-day journey, the river cruise, with 28 tourists on board, comprising 26 Swiss and 2 German nationals, travelled 3,200 kilometers through 27 river systems, visiting 50 major tourist sites in several states and neighbouring country, Bangladesh. Addressing the welcome ceremony, India's Ports, Shipping and Waterways Minister Sarbanand Sonowal said, "The journey of the world's longest river cruise has opened up many opportunities for speedy growth of the tourism industry." The Government of India has issued a heat wave health advisory to the states and union territories in view of the unusual high temperatures at some places in the country and substantial deviation from expected normal temperature for this time of year. The Health Ministry said that from Wednesday, daily surveillance on heat-related illnesses under National Programme on Climate Change and Human Health in all states will be conducted on Integrated Health Information Platform. More from our correspondent.
In the advisory on heat wave, people have been suggested to stay hydrated throughout the day and take oral rehydration solutions if required. They should keep their water intake high by taking seasonal fruits and vegetables with high water content. People should consume homemade drinks like lemon water, lassi and fruit juices with some added salt. People have also been advised to wear light, loose cotton clothing to remain cool and to cover their heads from direct sunlight. Anand Kumar, AIR News, Delhi.
On to sports now. In cricket, the third test between India and Australia of the Border Gavaskar Trophy will begin in Indore tomorrow. India have retained the trophy, winning first 2 tests. Despite the loss, Australia are currently topping the WTC points table with 136 points, while India are placed second with 123 points. The fourth test will be played at the Narendra Modi Stadium, Ahmedabad, from the 9th to the 13th of March. New Zealand secured a 1-run victory over England to draw the Test series 1-1 at Basin Reserve, Wellington on Tuesday. England became just the 4th team in Test history to lose after enforcing the follow-on. The only other previous 1-run victory was by the West Indies against Australia in Adelaide in 1993.
Now let us take a look at the major developments around the world, as reported in the foreign press. The Financial Times reports chip makers receiving US federal funds barred from expanding in China for 10 years. The Globe and Mail reports CSIS uncovered Chinese plan to donate to Pierre Elliott Trudeau Foundation. The Financial Times reports rising inflation in France and Spain fuels fears of more ECB rate increases. The Washington Post writes Canada is latest country to ban TikTok on government phones. The Japan Times reports Japan Health Ministry panel endorses nasal flu vaccine for children.
And now a quick look at the headlines once again. Government of India ensuring benefits of digital revolution reach all, asserts Prime Minister Narendra Modi. India-European Union Free Trade Agreement will be a game changer for India-EU relationship, says External Affairs Minister of India, Dr. S. Jaishankar. 2-day G20 foreign ministers meeting under India's presidency to begin in New Delhi from Wednesday. ISRO successfully conducts flight test of cryogenic engine for Chandrayaan-3 mission. White House asks US federal agencies to remove Chinese social media app TikTok from government devices within a month. World's longest river cruise Ganga Vilas successfully completes its maiden journey in Indian state of Assam. And in cricket, third test of Border Gavaskar Trophy between India and Australia to begin in Indore from Wednesday. And now before we end, let us listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favourite bhajan, Vaishnav Jan, by artiste from Denmark.
Vaishnav Jan tu pine kahiye ge peed parai jaane re par dukhe upakar kare tae man abhiman naane re Vaishnav Jan tu tine kahi.
And with that we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.